Do you like to imagine a better life or a different future? For some of us, that's really easy to do. For others, it's a little bit more difficult. But if we're going to have life change, it's really important for us to be able to imagine a different future. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's episode, why we should imagine it and how to get started with that. Welcome to Vida Bunda, a place where we talk about life change, about how we can be intentional and give and live more abundantly. Let's get started. When I was a boy, I imagined one day having a barbecue in our backyard. And I mean the place to actually grill meat and things like that, because I loved that, and we didn't have one. So I imagined this barbecue, and I asked my parents if they could buy some bricks and some cement, and they thankfully did. And I asked somebody else to help me understand how to mix the cement with other things to make concrete, and I made a barbecue in our backyard, even though I'd never done anything like that before. This dream that I had, just a part of my imagination, actually became a reality. We want to talk about three things today. And the first thing is that picturing in our mind what a better life could look like is actually the very first step. And it's an essential step before we can engage in this life change process. So let's talk about that just a little bit. But before we get started with imagining the future, we want to make sure that first we've already identified all the resources we already have. To learn more about that, listen to the previous episode where we discussed how to do that. So once we already have a clear idea of everything that we currently have, then we can start this process of imagining the future. And why should we do that? Well, there's that saying, without vision, people perish, right? If we don't know where we're going, we're never going to get there. We need to be able to imagine a better future so that we can actually then map out how we're going to get there and take the first steps to get there. The second thing is that we're going to, as we start this process of imagining the future, we're going to do it first in some general categories. So I'd like you to think about general categories of things that might need change. So for example, maybe some relationships need some change, or maybe some money, financial issues. Don't think about how you're going to get there at this point, but just think about the general categories and list those. For example, I'd like to see improvement in my relationship with, and you can write the name of the person or the people there. And then you're going to get really specific. And this is the third step of actually, if the second step was just general relationships, in the third step, you're going to talk about the specific relationship that might need some improvement. And you're going to list that in the sheet of what exactly is it that you want to see improving in that relationship. What would that improved relationship look like if it were better? Be as specific as you possibly can when listing these things. Now you might want to do this all at once, take an afternoon to do that, or maybe you need to do it in little bursts here and there and take one broad category at a time that you then give the specifics for. But either way, at the end of the day, what we want is a really clear picture of what your changed life might look like, so that can be in your head very clearly. Why? Because when we go through this process of imagining a better future, then it can help us with the next steps of how we're actually going to get there. I visited many communities in Africa that have built their own schools, started their own health centers, made their own roads, planted thousands of trees. How did that happen? It didn't just happen automatically. It happened because these communities took the time to identify the resources they already had and to imagine a better future for themselves and for their children, and then they actually started doing some of those things. So let me invite you in the next few days to schedule some time, take some time to think about the better life that you would like to have. And I'd like to offer you a free tool that can help you in that process. If you're interested in that, just go to vidabunda.com/contact us and request the tool for imagining the future. That's Vidabunda, VIDABUNDA.com, and click on Contact Us and ask for the tool about imagining a better future. It's absolutely free. Please make time to think about those things today. If you have comments, please make sure to put those in the comment section down below if you're watching on YouTube, or send us a note. And any way you can get a hold of us. Look forward to seeing you next time.